Hey hey, and welcome back to Freya, our Austrian-inspired build within the Tyrolean Alps. And yeah, we are continuing our rail infrastructure that we started last episode. And today we add another rail yard here, or a new rail yard, and we will be expanding our train station a bit, but only by one more lane here, or 2 lanes technically, so that we have an additional one for trains who might pass, or yeah, just additional rails for more passenger trains to technically be able to hold. And yeah, I think that's very nice so far. And I have a kind of new plan over there, which is to create a sort of lumber industry, some forestry. I won't be doing that in this episode, so the focus will be mainly on fixing up the area around the train station a bit, adding some leisure activities, and kind of preparing the area for the future industry. But I want to focus on the rail infrastructure mostly, so keep that in mind. But I felt like we could use some leisure activities here, so I placed this wonderful building from the leisure venues pack and integrated it with a nice looking parking lot around it. And yeah, I figured it might be a good idea to have that around for the tourists, because I'm sure there will be a lot, and maybe we can even do like a cool little tourist center somewhere where they can get information and important information basically on the region, so they know what to do in case it is raining, for example. They could go indoor climbing, and yeah, that's kind of my idea. And I have seen that, of course, in similar inspirations. For example, this build is inspired by the Ötztal Bahnhof, which is funny because it has the word train station basically in its name, and I was kind of confused when I heard that all the time, but it actually is a name, but in German, but yeah, sure. So yeah, it is inspired by that, but as I said, probably a lot of times I'm doing my kind of creative work here and my own inspiration, so it's not a one-to-one build, but you might see some resemblances. So yeah. And there it was also very common to have some leisure activities that are not fitting for a residential district typically, but more like a an in-between zone, I'd almost call it, because it is too nice for just an industrial area where they literally don't want to go, right? So, but at the same time, you don't want to have this kind of stuff directly near your residential, so I think it's kind of in between, or like a smooth divider between those zones, and I quite like the idea. So here we are finally doing some netlane work. I expanded this all over our train lines here, or our railways. So I won't show everything again because it is just too much. And you get the short version where I show you how it basically works, and then you just have to imagine me pulling this up to literally every single rail in here, right? So yeah. But I don't think I need to show you that. I'm even showing you probably more than I usually do with this kind of stuff, and I mean, it is a very long build. That is basically summarized in like 15 minutes or something. So you can imagine that there is a lot going on that you don't see on camera. And I was kind of struggling to find a nice looking net lane for the single lane railways, but I just used a road for that, and I think it is close enough to the two-way railway thing. But yeah, most of the time I'm not that happy about that. So I will kind of hesitate using one-way road or one-way railways. But in here I had to because of the rail yard, because it offers only these kind of stuff. So yeah. Here we got a nice looking radio tower. I figured it might be a good idea to have something like this around the area. And of course, the in-between zones will be basically only grasslands. I took that inspiration from the region, from the Austrian inspirations here as well. So we typically have a lot of grassland there, and you know, it might look odd to have that, but it is kind of realistic because you sometimes just have large fields where only grass is happening. So yeah, even though it might look boring, it is still realistic, so I will try to put it in there and get it out there and, you know, hopefully make it look good in the end. Also, this time I feel like I've overcome myself again with the outro cinematics. I think they look super, super gorgeous, so definitely stick around to the end. Or if you don't have enough time, at least skip to the end and watch it, because I feel like they've turned out so gorgeous. I really, really am happy with the area. And you might notice that there are some areas in there as well that I haven't built yet, but they will be upcoming in a future episode, and I like to kind of hide these details, sometimes more obvious, sometimes less obvious, but I think, I mean, I could technically record the cinematics in a save file where we haven't continued, but like at the same time we are continuing over on Twitch, so there's multiple things happening there. And if you want to see that, you can of course check it out, because you will see the whole building process, which can also be quite important to see, especially when you want to learn and maybe improve your own builds. Then I definitely recommend checking live streams of other people out. I've also met some wonderful people in the community over there that stream on Twitch, so there are definitely some very talented people over there. So you should maybe check it out. And yeah, you might spot me in one or the other stream, because as I said, there are some talented people, and I'm glad I can kind of exchange myself with others there as well. And I've learned quite the amount of stuff that I will be using in the next builds or yeah, things as well. So stick with me, and I'm still working on some stuff like improving my roadwork, so it's all over the place currently, I figured, but it will get better hopefully one day. Once I find something that works, I will basically use it everywhere, like the grass surface that we use all the time. And I mean, we used it here again, so you get my point, I guess. So yeah, I transformed this little rail yard into more of a industry zone, or like a trading point for especially wood, because we definitely got enough of that in this area here. So I want to have a focus on it, and as I said, we will be adding a forestry or like lumber industry and around the area to kind of finish up until we reach the mountain there. And in between this zone, I want to go with the climbing halls or anything like that. So I think that is the best solution here. Yeah, and that brings us back to our currently, I mean, you basically see what I'm doing, right? This is lots of decal work again. I'm mixing various ones from the Real Vision pack that also has gotten an update. Some things about the update I don't like too much, but generally I like to have more opportunities and decorating, so that is nice, definitely, for sure. But yeah, just mixing everything in a bit. Sometimes I had to switch things out, which I don't show on this episode, I think. I think I left some things out when it didn't work with some buildings, because sometimes textures overlap a bit and or go onto the building, and that doesn't look very nice. So once I see that or spot that, I kind of replace it and go with a different approach. Yeah, so sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It's a bit of a gambling thing. Sometimes it works, and you're quite happy about it, and sometimes you have to redo some stuff, and that's basically what I sometimes don't show on these kind of videos, because it is hard to filter out when I build something and when I replace something, and then maybe I replace it later again. So yeah, you know what I mean. So it's hard to take. I mean, it's nice that I get like a lot of progress done, especially with Twitch and so. But at the same time, I feel like I'm kind of being sometimes too far ahead, and it's a kind of balancing act. So, but yeah. This area is almost like an industry area here already, that kind of connects the lumberjack storages to the general rail infrastructure. I probably won't be placing some real freight trains there, or like a freight train station, because it isn't really enough space in my opinion there, and technically, the first inspirations for this build didn't even have trees, not trees, trains. I said trees because I saw so many trees here. Trains at all, it's except for like the Ötztal Bahnhof area, but the general inspiration, like Umhausen, doesn't have a train station. But as I said, that's just my freedom to put in there because I like trains. And yeah, it's looking super nice when you have lots of movement in your city. So, and especially, we don't have too many citizens. Right now it's 117. And I mean, sometimes you can see them driving around or walking around, but it's pretty lonely on the streets in my opinion. And I hope this will change. I mean, it's growing and we're replacing down houses, so I hope it helps, but I don't think that we will get a lot of people unless we add some medium density housing, for example. So in my vision, I do have something cool going on, but yeah, I mean, it is kind of in the future and we still have a long way to go. Okay, so I think we are almost at the end here. So thank you guys so much for watching me detail all of this. I really enjoyed it once again, and yeah, feel free to check out my other socials if you want to. Check out my Patreon, my Twitch, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. I'm also posting a lot of cool cinematics from this wonderful build. And yeah, that's mostly it, I think. And thank you guys so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye!